My own children lured me to the mountains, then pushed me off a cliff to die. But I survived, and what came next, they never saw coming. I remember the crunch of gravel beneath my shoes that morning, the air crisp with the faint smell of pine. My husband, Arthur, and I had been invited by our daughter Clara and her husband Nathan for what they called a healing family retreat. After months of tension surrounding our finances and the family inheritance, Clara insisted it was time to reconnect, to put old wounds behind us. I wanted to believe her, desperately. After all, she was my daughter, my only daughter. Our son, Victor, joined us too, arriving with his fiancée, Eva, a woman with eyes that always seemed too sharp, too calculating. Arthur and I exchanged glances when they stepped out of the car, but we held our tongues. We were grateful, naively so, to be spending a weekend with our children. The retreat house sat nestled in the mountains, its wooden frame perched on the edge of a cliff that overlooked miles of dense forest. It was beautiful, breathtaking even, but as we pulled our suitcases inside, I couldn't shake the unease prickling at the back of my neck. Dinner that evening was oddly formal. Clara had prepared a lavish spread: roast chicken, seasoned vegetables, and fresh bread. The laughter around the table felt rehearsed, as though every smile carried a hidden agenda. "Mom, Dad," Clara said sweetly, refilling my wine glass, "I've been thinking, you both work so hard, even in retirement. Don't you ever want to just let go? Enjoy the time you have left?" Arthur chuckled, unaware of the undertone. "Well, your mother and I do just fine. Besides, we're saving for the grandkids. Want them to have a future, don't we?" Victor leaned forward then, his voice soft but edged with something bitter. "And what about us? We've struggled for years while you sit on savings. Don't you think it's time you trusted us with more responsibility?" I swallowed hard. There it was, the subject I had dreaded, the inheritance. Arthur smiled politely. "When the time comes, you'll both receive your share. But until then, it stays where it is, safe." Clara's smile faltered, and in that instant, I saw the storm brewing in her eyes. The next morning, Nathan suggested a hike to a viewpoint only the locals know. The air was cool, and though my knees ached, I agreed. Arthur, strong as ever, held my hand as we followed behind. Clara and Victor led the way, their voices low, occasionally breaking into laughter that didn't feel genuine. Hours passed before we reached the cliff. It jutted out over the valley, the views stunning, the drop terrifying. Arthur whistled. "Now this is worth the walk." Nathan offered to take pictures. "Stand right there," he said, gesturing toward the edge. I hesitated, but Clara's encouraging smile gave me false comfort. Arthur and I posed together, the camera clicking, but then I felt a sharp shove between my shoulder blades. The world spun. Air tore from my lungs as Arthur and I tumbled over the cliff's edge. My scream was swallowed by the wind, replaced by the sickening crack of branches breaking beneath us. We didn't die. By some cruel twist of fate or divine mercy, we landed on a ledge halfway down. My arm was broken, Arthur's head bleeding, but we were alive. "Eleanor," Arthur groaned, his face pale. I crawled to him, ignoring the fire in my bones. Above us, I heard voices. Clara's voice. "Victor's, did you see them fall?" Clara whispered. "Yes," Victor replied. "They're gone. No one survives that drop." And then Nathan's laugh is low, cold, chilling. "Good, finally, everything is ours." My stomach turned. My own children, plotting, celebrating. Arthur grabbed my hand. His eyes burned with both pain and fury. "We have to stay alive. We have to make them pay." Arthur's phone, miraculously unharmed, had slid from his pocket. With trembling fingers, he pressed record. Above us, unaware of our survival, our children revealed everything. Nathan's voice. With them out of the way, the accounts transferred directly. "Victor, you'll cover the debts. Clara, we'll handle the house. By the time anyone suspects, it'll all be ours, Clara, and no one will ever know. Just a tragic accident." Arthur squeezed my hand. "We have them. We just need to get out alive." But getting out was easier said than done. Hours passed. The cold crept in. Blood loss made Arthur weak. When night fell, so did despair. Yet the next morning, salvation, or so we thought, arrived. Voices, the sound of ropes. "They're down here," Nathan shouted, his voice laced with faint panic. "Please, save them." My heart leaped until Arthur whispered, "Don't move. Don't let them know we're alive." He was right. If our children saw us breathing, they'd finish the job. We kept still as rescuers descended. I forced my chest to rise so shallowly that I appeared lifeless. "This one's critical," a paramedic said of Arthur. "The woman, barely alive. Perfect." They believed it. We were lifted out, strapped to stretchers, flown to a hospital where truth might finally find its voice. At the hospital, I fought every instinct to open my eyes as Clara and Victor visited. Clara's hand brushed mine. "Oh, Mama," she whispered sweetly, "you'll be at peace soon. We'll take care of everything. Don't you worry." Her words dripped like poisoned honey. Then Victor leaned close, his voice colder than winter. "You should have trusted us, but you always had to control everything. Now look where it got you." He chuckled, unaware that a young nurse, Amira, was in the room, her eyes wide with interest, listening. My pulse quickened. We had a witness. Amira later leaned down, whispering, "If you're pretending, move your finger." I did. Her face blanched, then hardened with resolve. "I'll get help. Trust me." Within hours, detectives stood at my bedside. Detective Morales, sharp and calm, asked gently, "Can you tell us what really happened?" I whispered it all. The shove, the fall, the confessions, the recording on Arthur's phone. Arthur, barely conscious, handed it over. "Everything's here," he rasped. The detective's jaw tightened as he listened. "It's enough. More than enough." While Clara, Victor, Nathan, and Eva sat in the waiting room, playing the role of grieving children, officers moved in. "Clara Martin, Victor Martin, Nathan Hayes, Eva Collins, you are under arrest for attempted murder and financial fraud." Their shock was immediate. Clara screamed. Victor shouted, "That's impossible. They're dead. We saw them die." His slip only tightened the noose. The siblings turned on each other instantly. Clara blamed Victor. Victor blamed Nathan. Eva tried to escape blame altogether. Years of loyalty crumbled in minutes. Months later, I stood in court, staring at my children across the room. They looked like strangers, cold, hardened, unrecognizably. I recounted every moment. The dinner conversation, the shove, the whispers. I held nothing back. When Victor smirked, I addressed him directly. "The boy I raised died long ago. What stands before me is a man consumed by greed." The jury deliberated 3 days before returning their verdict. Guilty on all counts: attempted murder, fraud, conspiracy, life sentences without parole. Arthur and I now live quietly, raising Clara's 2 children, our innocent grandchildren, who were spared from their parents' darkness. Some nights, I tuck them into bed and whisper stories about family, about trust, about love that endures even in betrayal. And when I look out at the horizon, I remember the cliff, the fall, the cold sting of betrayal, but I also remember survival. We lived, we told the truth, and in the end, justice was ours.